Hi, today in this video we are going to study the second prose piece prescribed for 12th grade students from the textbook Vistas. The title of this prose piece or this story is The Tiger King and it's written by Kalki. Before going into the details of the story, a few words about its author. Kalki was the pen name of R. Krishnamurti. He was an Indian writer, journalist, poet, critic and Indian independence activist. In short, I think we can say that he was a multifaceted personality. He did not continue his formal education for too long. It is because he was influenced by by Mahatma Gandhi's call for non-cooperation, and it was because of this influence that he joined Indian National Congress and could not continue his formal education for too long. I'm sure by now you must have guessed that he was an eyewitness. Kalki or R. Krishnamurti was an eyewitness to the British India, and this fact is very much reflected in this story that we are going to read, that is The Tiger King. There is some description of the British in this story. Well, The Tiger King by Kalki is an interesting story. It's a humorous story as well. It is a satire on the pride, arrogance and conceit of people in power or persons in power. It is a satire on the self-importance that people in power assume. Now, what happens in this story? Before going into the details, let me tell you, a bird's eye view or an overall, a picture. There is a Maharaja or a king in this story who, because of a prophecy, there was a prophecy that he would meet his death from the 100th tiger. And knowing this, he shouted a warning to all the tigers. He justified his act as self-defense. According to his opinion, or according to him, he wanted to kill the tigers in self-defense. And we will see what happens further. So now, let's go to this story and let me narrate this story in my own words, and then you may go and read the text for yourself and read it to have a better understanding. It is a very simple story, as I told you. As the story opens, we read that there is a Maharaja of Pratibandhapuram. That is the name of the place, he was a Maharaja of, or he was a king of. So he was a king of Pratibandhapuram. His name was Jan Bahadur. Now, well, he is no more, he is dead, but he came to be known as, the Tiger King. Now, how he got this name, how he assumed this name is an interesting story, how he got this name, the Tiger King. That Tiger King, as prophesied by the astrologers when he was born, was a man of unconquerable courage. That means no one could withstand him. The astrologers had predicted that one day the king would, grow up to become a valiant warrior. He would be very brave. He would be one of the greatest heroes, but would have to meet his death. He would have to meet his end. Now, as the astrologers foretold his future, a miracle took place. What was the miracle? The 10-day-old Maharaja, he spoke. He said that all living beings, everyone who has been born would have to meet death one day. That means all would have to die one day. Now, he wanted to know the cause of his death. The newborn baby wanted to know the cause of his death, not that he would die, because everyone has to die. The chief astrologer was wonder-struck. He was surprised. He was shocked because he saw that the 10-day-old baby had not only spoken, but he had also raised an intelligent question. The chief astrologer further predicted that the prince was born in the hour of the bull. I think I need not explain this fact. Being Indians, I think we can easily understand what is the hour of the bull from astrology. So since he was born in the hour of the bull and the tiger are enemies. Therefore, death would come from the tiger. Now, as soon as Jan Bahadur heard the prophecy, he shouted a warning to the tigers. What was the warning? Let tigers beware. I am quoting the exact line. Let tigers beware. As I read this, I am reminded of what Julius Caesar said in the play Julius Caesar. I am sure you must have read this play in class 10. But for those who have read this play in class 10, let me remind you what Julius Caesar said. In his play, danger knows full well that Caesar is more dangerous than he. We are two lions littered in one day, and I the elder and more terrible, and Caesar shall go forth. This is the exact line I am quoting from the play Julius Caesar. I'm sure you must be able to remember if you have read the play in class 10. I don't want to go into the details of the context in which this statement was made by Julius Caesar, but I think we can very well correlate these lines. It was the extreme pride of Julius Caesar, it was his overconfidence, in a sense we can say, that made him make this statement. Danger knows full well that Caesar is more dangerous than he. I think in that way only, or in the same tone, this prince or this tiger king or this baby maharaja or crown prince, whatever you call, he says, let tigers beware of me. I don't have to be careful of the tigers, let the tigers be careful of me. Well, as the story proceeds, with passing of time, the crown prince, whose name, as I have already mentioned, Jilani Jang Bahadur, as predicted, he grew taller and stronger. The predictions, were easily seen to be, becoming true in his life. However, there was no other miracle associated with him other than the predictions made by the astrologers. Well, he was brought up under the influence of the Western culture. That's what we read, in the text, like the crown princes of any other Indian state. At the age of 20, at a very early age, as early as 20 years of age, he took over his state. And then one day, the young Maharaja was, told, he heard of the astrologer's prediction about himself. He heard that he would have to meet his death from a tiger. From that day onwards, he thought, why not kill the tigers and bring an end to all the tigers so that the prediction made by the astrologer would not come true. He wanted to prove himself. So from that day on, he started his tiger hunt in innumerable forests in Pratibandhapuram state, as we read further in the text. Now, as I have already told you, I have insisted that what he said, he justified his act of killing tigers as, self-defense. Now, he was very much delighted. He became happy when he went on tiger hunt and he killed his first tiger. But the straight astrologer again, he said, he warned that it was the 100th tiger that would kill him, not the first 99. The astrologer was so confident of his profession, of his prediction, that he even said that he would leave his profession if his predictions did not come true. He would leave it, he would give it up. Then, that day on, Pratibandhapuram state banned tiger hunting for anyone except the Maharaja. It stated that anyone who even tried to hurt a tiger, his property, his belongings would be confiscated. His property would be confiscated. The tiger was, the king was all set to realize his ambition, of killing 100 tigers. So he became very ambitious. He decided that somehow or other the king would kill 100 tigers. He braved all the challenges that came his way in killing, tigers. Sometimes the bullet missed the mark. That's what we read. You may read the text and you may get the better understanding. You will get the detailed information or detailed building blocks of the text as you read, of this story. Now the tiger, sometimes the tiger leapt on him. Sometimes he had to fight the beast with his bare hands. So he had to face many challenges. But the strange thing is that, what is to be noted is that each time it was the Maharaja who came out victorious, or in other words, he won. It was because of his obsession that once it happened that he almost lost his throne. He almost lost his throne, and how he lost his throne is a story that you will read in the text. It happened once that a high-ranking British official visited Pratibandhapuram. The British officer, he was very fond of hunting tigers and even fonder of being photographed, with the tiger he had shot. I think again you can correlate this story to Mrs. Packletide's Tiger, the second prose piece, that was prescribed for class 10 or 10th grade students. Now he expressed his desire. Who expressed? The British official expressed his desire to hunt in Pratibandhapuram. But the Maharaja, he refused permission. Why? He wanted to kill all the tigers for himself. He didn't want to allow anyone else to kill the tiger. He wanted himself, he wanted to kill himself. Now, when the British officer's secretary asked permission, saying that the Maharaja could do the actual killing, what the British official wanted was simply to be photographed with the tiger's carcass. He just wanted to, be photographed holding the gun, standing over the tiger's carcass. But even this, proposal was refused by Maharaja. Why did he refuse it? According to him, he would have to allow even other British officials if he allowed him. But he was in fear of losing his throne, so he had to do something to make the British official happy. So what did he do? To pacify the British officer, the Maharaja asked a famous British company of jewelers in Calcutta to send some samples of expensive diamond rings of different designs to the British officer's wife. After about 50 rings arrived, not one or two or five, about 50 rings arrived. The Maharaja sent them, to the British officer's wife. Actually, the Maharaja or the king asked the jeweler to send the rings to him, to Maharaja. That's what we read in, the text. And it was for the purpose of giving it to British officer's wife. Now, there is a twist again here. We read that he expected the British officer's wife to choose maybe one or two or maybe a few, but he was surprised, or he was shocked, or maybe he was taken aback when he received a thanks letter. That means the British officer's wife had taken all the rings and she had sent him a thanks letter. However, although he had lost 3 lakh rupees, all these diamond rings cost about 3 lakh of rupees. That's what we read. However, the Maharaja was happy that although he had lost this huge amount, however, he had managed to retain his kingdom. So even he had to face this situation or this challenge. Then again, as the story proceeds, we read that the tiger hunt continued for 10 long years and the Maharaja was able to kill 70 tigers. But what was the target? He had to kill 100 tigers. The tiger population became extinct for the in the forest of Pratibandhapuram. But the Maharaja had another plan. What was the plan? He called the Diwan, and he expressed his desire to get married to a girl from a royal family of a state with a large tiger population. This is what he said to his Diwan. The Diwan, in compliance or in fulfillment with his orders, found the right girl for him. He married the girl, and each time he visited his father-in-law's house, Jang Bahadur or this Maharaja or this king killed 5 or 6 tigers each time. However, the number 100 could not be achieved. Soon he was able to kill 99 tigers. So see, there is only one tiger left to be killed. Only one tiger, and his mission would be completed. He had already killed 99 tigers. But by then, the tigers had become extinct even in his father-in-law's kingdom. So now what to do? The Maharaja was even more, uneasy, and he desired to kill just one more tiger. He was very close to his target. Now, he could, after completing the 100 tigers, after killing 100 tigers, he was even ready to give up tiger hunting altogether. However, unfortunately, the 100th tiger could not be found. The Maharaja sunk in gloom. One day, when he heard that his own, state, the sheep had begun to disappear from a hillside, village. So he concluded that sheep could not go anywhere. Naturally, there must have been, there must be a tiger who must be taking these, sheep for food or as a prey. So he was very happy on knowing this or on hearing this. He was so delighted that he announced a 3-year exemption from all taxes for the village and set out to hunt the tiger. But it was again in vain. Then, when he could not find this one tiger, this 100th tiger, he became very furious, and as a result, many of his officers lost their job because they were unable due to their inability to find the tiger. In his wrath, he even ordered the Diwan to double the land tax. See, he is becoming furious as the time passes by. Well, the Diwan was very worried. Somehow the solution to this problem had to be found. It had to be found. He was relieved. Who was relieved? The Diwan was relieved when he he saw a tiger that had been brought from the People's Park in Madras and kept hidden in his own house. Okay, so at midnight, what did the Diwan do? He and his wife, both of them, they dragged the tiger and put the tiger in their car and drove the car to the forest where the Maharaja was hunting. With a great difficulty, the Diwan was, able to push the tiger out. The tiger was not willing even, the tiger was not able to go out of the car. The old tiger wandered into the Maharaja's, presence. The Maharaja shot. He aimed and shot, and the tiger fell to the ground. That's what we read. He was overjoyed. He became very happy that he had finally killed the tiger. Well, he ordered a procession. He ordered the tiger to be brought to the capital in a grand procession. And then, here is a twist to this story. What is the twist? After the Maharaja left, we read that the hunters realized that the tiger was not dead. He had merely fainted from the shock of the bullet. Let me again remind you of the second prose piece if you have read in class 10, that is Mrs. Packletide's tiger. What is written? Again, I will not go into the details. I will not go into the context. I recommend you to read that prose piece once so that easily you can correlate and you will be able to enjoy. You will understand how, this story that we are reading, that is the Tiger King and Mrs. Packletide's tiger, they are, very much related to each other. If you read it, you will really enjoy. Let me just quote one or two lines from Mrs. Packletide's tiger, what's written in it. If you may be in a position to remember the lines. The rifle flashed out with a loud report, and the great tawny beast, sprang to one side and then rolled over in the stillness of death. As the story continues, in that story we read, evidently the wrong animal had been hit, and the beast of prey had succumbed to heart failure caused by the sudden report of the rifle, accelerated by senile decay. So even in that story, that is in Mrs. Packletide's tiger, the wrong animal had been hit. And here, there was no other animal who was hit, but the target had been missed. And the tiger simply had fainted. The tiger did not die, but it had fainted. However, they did not want to, for the fear of losing their jobs, they did not want this truth to be revealed or to be, told to the Maharaja. They wanted to keep this truth or this fact or this discovery from the Maharaja. One of the hunters, he shot the tiger himself dead. And then, as ordered by the king, they took the dead tiger in a procession through the town and buried it. And then we read that a tomb was erected over it. Now we come to the climax of this story. At the end, what happens? A few days later, Maharaja's son's third birthday was celebrated. The Maharaja was very eager to give some special gift on his birthday, to his young son, as his birthday was going to be celebrated. Now we read that he went in search of different gifts. He spotted a wooden tiger in a toy shop and decided that it was a perfect gift for his son. The wooden tiger cost, we read, only 2 annas and a quarter. But the shopkeeper, what did he say? He said that it was an extremely rare example of craftsmanship and asked for 300 rupees. The Maharaja was very happy. He brought the gift. And then we read that he was playing, that the father and the son played with that tiny wooden tiger. It had been carved by an unskilled carpenter. Why? Because, the surface was very rough. It had tiny quill-like structures all over it. And then we read that one of these quills, it pierced the Maharaja's right hand. The Maharaja, pulled it out, but continued to play with the prince. The next day, an infection flared or it spread in Maharaja's right hand and spread all over the arm. That's what we read. The 3 renowned surgeons from Madras, they could not save him. And here comes the end to this story. As I said, it's a very easy story. Well, at the end, it's after all a story, and I don't want to comment on whether it was the astrologer's prediction that brought an end to the story. Of course, it is very much clear that it was the astrologer's prediction that brought an end to the king. But we can't conclude exactly whether it was the divine intervention or it was a mere coincidence. We cannot say it. It may be divine intervention or it may be a mere coincidence. Whatever the case be, one thing is very sure, and that is no one can change their destiny. Everyone is destined and to something, and each one has to meet their destiny. We cannot fight against our destiny. We can only work hard. So this is what happens even in this chapter. I'm sure you must have understood it. I highly recommend, I reiterate that you read the chapter for yourself to have a much better and much more clear understanding of this story. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask me in the comment section. Thanks for watching.